Absolutely fantastic. Exciting, really fantastic. Thrilling flight from the C4 Corvette at a recent drag race. Here we go. There it goes upside down and crashing into the outskirts area of that. Man, you see some stuff. Apparently the driver walked away from that, but there was a C7 Corvette absolutely, positively destroyed. Sad info out of Baldwin Park. A police officer died out in a shooting that happened with a deranged man. One other, I believe, was killed. Here is the ABC7 report with video on the scene from the tragedy.
Street is now reopened after a gunman killed a civilian Saturday night along with a police officer and injured one other officer. Neighbors say they believe this all took place over an argument over a parking spot.
Get in, go to the back. It's gunshots. There's a shooter.
New Ring camera video showing the moments a civilian ran for his life and was gunned down in front of a Baldwin Park resident's home.
And I guess he ran through the middle and came and worked his way over here. He fell right there. So when I came over here to see, he was already on the ground.
Tragic scene out there in Baldwin Park. Police officer shot dead. Another man who was running away from the scene, all over an argument over a parked car. Holy cow, some of the things we see each day. This whole thing about the Save Girls Sports. One thing I want to talk about is why you don't hear about Jillian Wetland, Leanne Lorelli, the two that were unceremoniously displaced by a boy from Harupa Valley at the California Track Meets the State Championships. All you hear about is, oh, poor woe is me, and the trans people just hollering about this. This we posted on Saturday on IE Newswire, and it's all that really needs to be said. No boys and girls sports. Why is that concept so hard to understand? We'll delve deeper into that here later on in the show. Of course, you're going to get hosed again by your legislature. Ashley Zavala with this report. Here we go.
New proposed laws.
But they could be facing fresh scrutiny around how much they'll actually be getting done to make life more affordable. KCRA 3 Capitol correspondent Ashley Zavala joining us now to look at some of the debates we can expect to see play out over the next few days.
Yeah, well, Taylor and Brandy, Friday is what's known as the House of Origin deadline. The deadline for bills written in the state assembly to pass out of the assembly and bills written in the Senate to get out of the Senate. Bills from the assembly will be considered by the Senate between now and September, and then the assembly will consider those Senate bills between now and then as well. So the proposed laws that survive this point are officially halfway through the state's lawmaking process. One big question looming: how much of a dent will state lawmakers make on their promise to tackle affordability?
I can answer that question for Ashley. Absolutely 100% zero. We'll get more into the specifics of that. Also today, and we'll delve into that, deeper into that, the California Democrats in the legislature blocked a bill to stop the California Air Resources Board 65-gallon gas tax raise on all of us citizens they passed down here in Riverside about 3 months ago. So we'll have an update on that situation. The flamethrower dude up there in Colorado. If this isn't the prime #1 example of why we should be thanking our lucky stars every day, Donald J. Dick is president. Exciting, really fantastic.
Victims, ages 67 to 88. All of them have been transported to local hospitals. This attack happened at a regularly scheduled weekly peaceful event. Witnesses are reporting that the subject used a makeshift flamethrower and threw an incendiary device into the crowd. The suspect was heard to yell "Free Palestine" during the attack.
Also, he was in this country illegally and unlawfully. Kept there by the Biden administration, waved in. But you can't say anything nasty or mean about, they immigrated, they're migrants. We'll have this local news, much more coming up as we delve into the rest of the hour or so left in the show. Dr. Kelly Victory will not be on today. She'll be on tomorrow, and I know a lot of you tune in for her, so just a heads up. She will be on tomorrow, Tuesday. Thrilling flight in the C-4 Corvette. A recent There's that funky slide guitar music that comes in every Monday through Friday, live. 5, maybe, the Evil FB Network, and Rumble. Why did everything go dead? Oh. Let's see if I can get myself back. There we go. Man, I've been having one. It's been a Monday. The electronics have been going crazy. I've been hearing myself twice. I don't know if you guys have been in there. Then the video switcher's been going crazy all the time that I've been trying to set all this stuff up. Anyway, so we're back. Nothing but a bunch of nutty stuff going on. Sad news, and we have video footage that ABC7 got of the actual shooting of the Baldwin Park police officer, all over an argument over a parking space. A cop and another guy are dead. The other officer was There was another officer injured, but he was released from the hospital, I believe the reports said. So that part is good news. But man, the chaotic situation we got going on all over the place of just trying to get people to do what's right. It's like with the illegal immigration. All the boo-hoo-hooers and this and that. And then we got the flamethrower dude in Colorado, the latest one. In this country, illegally or unlawfully, overstayed his visa, however you want to say it. It may not be a crime to overstay your visa, but you're subject to deportation, and he had deportation orders. It would seem from the Trump administration or from the Biden administration. He had been ordered out of the country. He had been on the deportation list. Yet, he's still here. It's going to be a very interesting few days. There were 1,500 rounded up in the People's Republic of Massachusetts and arrested and subject to deportation. All were either criminals or had deportation orders. If you have deportation orders sitting at Homeland Security, ICE, FBI, if they catch you with the Trump administration, you're going back to the country you came from or a citizen of. Period, end of story. There's going to be a very, very, very let's say interesting debate that's going to come on. Because Tom Homan and Trump, well, basically Tom Homan, border czar, and Stephen Miller, deputy chief of staff for Trump, and mostly the chief architect of the immigration policy. It's been, they've been on it. They've said they imagine 3,000 a day are going to be deported. That's their goal, is to track it up. Once they got rid of, or once they dealt with the most heinous criminals in the box. They're going to target the rest of those in the country with deportation orders. They figure that number is going to be about 3,000 per day. We have the Fox News report on the Massachusetts raid of those who mostly overstayed their visas. Here we go.
Time in Massachusetts, you had, I think, the largest ever raid, or at least netting of arrests of 1,461 people. That's the largest so far. And those that were arrested, 790 of them had criminal convictions, and 277 had what we were just talking about, final orders of removal or deportation. Tell us more.
Well, let's start with that little vignette. Of the 1,500 who had deportation orders or criminal records, that's close to 1,000. So what is the big deal? You had final deportation orders. Maybe the other ones didn't. I don't know where the other part went. But Operation Patriot, as you see, almost 1,500 arrests. That doesn't mean, well, they could be. That doesn't mean they're deported yet. We do have due process, no matter how much people scream about it. But let's pick up some more of the report from Fox News.
Tell us more.
No, and Dana, it was a great operation, and the fact that it was over the course of a month really shows the commitment of the men and women of ICE here in Massachusetts and all over New England. And we took a whole of government approach. We used all of our partners to include diplomatic security, the U.S. Marshal Service, ATF, FBI, DEA, to really locate and arrest these criminal aliens. One highlight for this operation is the fact that it was successful because we worked with our joint partners in a sanctuary state like Massachusetts, where it's extremely difficult, where we...
So we have seen the official edicts from Trump, from Stephen Miller, from Tom Homan, Kristi Noem, Kash Patel, all of the Trump administration. Hey, dudes. We're going to clean this stuff up. 100%. There's been no question. If you're in the country illegally or unlawfully, you are subject to deportation. They're running the PSAs right now with Kristi Noem saying if you're here illegally, unlawfully, we will offer you $1,000 to get back home. Mind you, I think they must have been paying attention to me because that's the number I think I said on this show. I said we should offer, since some of them maybe innocently were believing that they were going to get asylum or instant citizenship because they were told that, either through our government or indirectly through the non-government agencies who are quasi-de facto government agencies because they were getting most of their funding from the government. And I believe, all said and done, and I hope the prosecutions and investigations start soon, because the government can't get a private company, a private individual, as far as I know, to do something illegally or something that they're not legally obligated to do. They can't farm out, okay, we want to put a hit on American citizens, so we won't do it with our armed forces or police officers or whatever. We'll just hire a hitman. Totally illegal. Now, that's an extreme example, but that's basically what they did with these non-government agencies and the illegals. They took them and they took the Catholic charities, Lutheran charities, Jewish charities, Red Cross, gave them our money that they took from us at the point of a gun, and financed practically all the illegals coming up. How do you think somebody from Guatemala, who probably doesn't have 10 cents to their whole frickin' name, how do you think they get 10 grand to pay a coyote to get them across the border? Where do you think that money came from? The generosity of and the richness of the Guatemalan people, or Venezuela, or even China. This is more from Todd Lyons at the press conference. Here we go.
Trying to evade justice in their home countries. It's long past time to remove these dangerous criminals from our communities. What we need to do is prevent them from terrorizing family, friends, and our neighbors. But the bottom line is that ICE and its federal partners wouldn't be able to conduct large-scale operations like this without the partnership you see up here. But more importantly, if...
This is the kicker. That's the federal government crew, FBI, Homeland Security, ICE. Those are the ones that he's referring to. All the men and women in charge of that, of pulling off Operation Patriot, as you see here, largest ICE operation ever across the People's Republic of Massachusetts. Here's more from acting ICE Director Todd Lyons.
Sanctuary cities would change their policies and turn these violent criminal aliens over to us, into our custody, instead of releasing them into the public, we would not have to go out to the communities and do this.
Riverside County, are you listening? We have the whole debate coming up. Riverside County is on the list of 48 of the 58 California counties that either are sanctuary cities, sanctuary counties, or promoting policies to help those in the country unlawfully or illegally. Like when Riverside County, or if they're with their latest dust up, or they're saying they're trying to deny it. Well, we're not a sanctuary. We haven't officially voted ourselves as a sanctuary county. This is where you got on that list because you blatantly went out just a couple months ago at the beginning of the year and said, oh, well, we recognize everyone in our county, regardless of their immigration status. That includes being in here unlawfully or illegally. And now you're saying, well, we didn't cause Trump's ire or that, or we didn't. No, you did. You did it the first of the year. That resolution proffered by Victor Manuel Perez, 4th District Supervisor, and 5th District Supervisor, Extian Gutierrez, you said you're going to defend the rights of everybody in Riverside County, regardless of immigration status. Regardless of immigration status. There, bingo. That's what Trump's talking about. That's why you're on the list. Because of an action you took. So you tried to skirt it. Here's more from Todd.
Boston's my hometown, and it really shocks me that officials all over Massachusetts would rather release sex offenders, fentanyl dealers, drug dealers, human traffickers, and child rapists back into the neighborhoods.
I went up there and said, why don't you pass a resolution that Riverside County was going to cooperate with all law enforcement officers all across the board, including immigration. Then you probably wouldn't be on the list targeted for federal funds being cut from Donald J. Trump, 47th President of the United States. Riverside County, Victor Manuel Perez, Extian Gutierrez, Jose Medina and Chuck E. Cheese Washington, who voted for it. As Karen Spiegel said, you pass this and you're going to probably find out the law of unintended consequences. Well, here it is. Where do you think they're coming next? More from Todd.
You know, all too often in Massachusetts and all over the Commonwealth, people use ICE's operations as a talking point, which it shouldn't be. It should be public safety all around. But instead,
this brilliant device keeps your home cool in summer,
Here
even
we go
during
with
heat
these.
waves and power outages.
Yeah, we don't care about your heat waves or power outages. It's incredible. As Todd said, these should not be talking
It's smaller
points.
than a lunchbox.
They should not be up for debate. Public safety is not something you toy with or play politics with. As a California elected official, you swore an oath to the California Constitution, which says public safety is your number one priority. Act on it.
CBP, ATF, DEA, Diplomatic Security Service, and the U.S. Marshals have to go out and pick up some of the most horrible criminals that are roaming free in Massachusetts. These are just some of them. A child sex offender that was previously deported that was released by a local agency but was back living across the street from a playground. A sex trafficker that was arrested for raping a child that was re-released back into the community. A habitual drunk driver who in the midst of his drunk driving kidnapped a child. Theft from, we had one person that was previously deported that was stealing from disabled senior citizens. Not only that, but they got several convicted murderers, rapists, spouse abusers, child abusers, and drug traffickers.
So what more do we have to say? Of course, there's going to be one or two, like the old Cheech and Chong movie where somebody got deported. There are going to be mistakes if you're deporting 1 million, 2 million, 3 or 4 million. And we will correct those mistakes. But you can't let the perfect stand in the way of the greater good. Just because one person may suffer, that we're going to make 100,000 suffer. If you run on that theory all the time, you will just absolutely have lawlessness and chaos all across the board, because it will get to their ultimate goal is what they want. They want nobody in prison. Those who are spouting all this, holding up for the illegal guy like who just flamethrowered everybody in Boulder, Colorado, or the crowd that was in Boulder, Colorado, to all the heinous criminals you just heard here. Or let's just talk about the lowering of wages in the United States of America, because when you import more supply of labor, the price of labor goes down. Plain and simple. If you want to hire teenage girls and boys to be sex workers, if they're illegal, they're going to be much less likely to go to the cops or turn you in or say we're being trafficked illegally because they're here illegally. Same with labor. If they're working in the chicken or beef packing plants, slaughtering pigs and chickens and whatever, on down to everything else, they're not going to say anything. We have built the 21st century slaves. We have the biggest slave market. Well, maybe not to China. We have the biggest slave market we've ever had we have the biggest amount of slaves, de facto slaves, in the United States of America than we ever have in history. Start back with 1776 to 249 years to today. Because those that are in here unlawfully or illegally are under that hammer, hey. And the employers know it, the people exploiting them know it, the pimps, the drug traffickers know it, because they got the ultimate hammer on them. You speak up, you're going back to Venezuela, Guatemala, Boca Raton, Peru, or anywhere else. So that's why they can make them work in the sex trade or the labor trade at substandard conditions, and it makes it much easier for them to operate.
About 30 seconds, Roy.
You got it. As Sean said, we'll be joining the Mighty Met KMAT here in a few seconds.
Just read on Tom Del Beccaro's site that they just approved another 65-cent gas hike in the state of California.
Yes. Well, they blocked the attempt to get rid of it. Yes. We'll jump on that in the next half hour.
All right, here we go. 10 seconds.
The assault never stops here, Sean. Go down around.
IE Newswire Daily is on the air.
The following is a paid program. Views and claims expressed are those of the program producer and are not endorsed by this station. Opinions expressed are not necessarily those of radio station KMET, management, employees, or affiliates.
There's funky slide guitar music that comes in every Monday through Friday live at 5:30 on the Mighty Met 1490 AM, broadcasting all over the Inland Empire in the aforementioned AM band. Join our vast video audience in the Evil FB Network, Rumble, X, all that good stuff, YouTube, on the Roy Bleckert channel. I think we may be cashing in on why they're pissing and moaning about it, what we've been doing on YouTube, why they keep throwing us on and off of that, but we'll see. That's why, but if you want to check us out on the Evil G Network, check us out on the Roy Bleckert channel on that, if you like going there. If it wasn't for checking out stuff on car repairs on YouTube, I would not use that particular network for as little as possible. I know sometimes it's just you can't get around it. I do use their search engine once in a while if I'm not finding something on like Start Page or Go.go or something like that. But my recommendation is try to avoid the Evil G networks, the Evil FB networks, and all that kind of stuff, because it's going to be the demise of us all. This AI thing, and maybe we'll get on to it later in the week. And for those Dr. Kelly fans, she's not on today, obviously. She should be on tomorrow. She's traveling right now, so hopefully Dr. Kelly will be on tomorrow. There's been a lot of talk in the last week, Elon Musk to the Wall Street Journal, about the whole AI experience and really how quickly it is becoming it's becoming more than artificial intelligence, to the point that in a recent Wall Street Journal piece, the AI was resisting the human's attempt to shut it down. And some of the really bright thinkers and movers and shakers that have been on AI are starting to shout some really big warning signs about what's going on with this whole AI deal. So we should have that more on top. As Sean mentioned just as we came in, and we'll get to it in a little bit, the California state legislature, all the Democrats, or all the ones that voted against the Republicans, the 3 or 4 that are left in the California legislature and the assembly. Actually, there's 20 out of 60. They're only 25%. They put a bill up to block the 65 cent a gallon gas tax that was passed down here by the California Air Resources Board, who is a member of it and also a member of the 4th District Supervisor's Office, Victor Manuel Perez, who voted for it. They voted to block the bill to stop that directive by CARB. And you wonder why practically every refinery, we may be down to 7 in 2 years. When I think at our peak, we were over 60 30 years ago. It's been 25 years since we built a new gas or diesel refinery in California. But I wanted to pick up on this because it has a local connotation. Oh, and the 50, we just did it before we came on. 1,500 illegals yesterday were rounded up and arrested under Operation Patriot in Massachusetts. And as we said, Riverside County, this is why you're on the Trump list, because of that resolution you passed protecting everyone in Riverside County, despite their immigration, no matter what their immigration status was, which means illegally or unlawfully. That's why you're on the list of Trump to have federal funds cut. But the story that has the Inland Empire in the focus, and again, not in a great way, is the Harupa Valley, and I don't even like mentioning the boy's name, because it just brings attention, and this is my whole contention of what we're going through. Harupa Valley high school student, boy, has been winning practically all the high jump, long jump, whatever records. Apparently this has been going on for a year. They had the California State Championships this weekend up in Clovis, California, which is up around the Fresno area, home of the once famous Kearney Bowl racetrack. But I digress. Check out, if you want to check out some really good racing from back in the 60s and 70s. Al Pombo dominated that place, but just check Clovis Speedway in Al Pombo. Try that one. Anyway, they had the state championships. As you see, there is a banner that was flying behind an airplane up there at Clovis, no boys and girls sports. And why in the Inland Empire do we have to be famous for stuff like this? But you notice how many, on top of that, Jillian Wheatland and Leanna Leroulier, and I'm sure I'm butchering that name as only I can, they were the ones that got their medals displaced from the Harupa Valley boy who took their medals in the girls' sports. Now, they did award the one girl who was in second a gold medal. So on top of that, now we're making gold medals worthless, or we're diminishing them. Gold meant first place. If you got a medal, started with the Olympics or whenever. Most famous in the Olympics. Gold is first, silver is second, bronze is third. Blue ribbon is first, whatever, da-da-da-da-da. So, are they still listing him, the boy from Harupa Valley, as the winner of the girls' event? And it's put an uproar. In fact, people have said this is an 80-20 issue. It's not an 80-20 issue. I think it's 111% to minus negative 11. There's a few people, and I'm going to say it's way over exaggerated, maybe 1 or 2%. But we gravitate to that, but you hear nothing. Zero. Where's the articles about the other girls that, whatever, won medals in the 100-yard dash, in the mile run, or whatever. Maybe they do. Do girls do the javelin toss? I don't know. Whatever was going on in the track and field events, you heard nothing except about the boy winning the medals and winning all the stuff in the girls' high jump and long jump competition. We had another story that hardly got zero coverage. In Oregon, 2 young ladies that had a boy running in their competition walked off the stage, or were ushered off the stage for protesting during the medals ceremony. See if we can roll that up on the meter here. Here's the video from Fox News. There you see them at the track meet up in Oregon after the race and when the medal ceremony is, and they were protesting what was going on. They were ushered off the stage. This stuff has absolutely got to stop. Because we cannot tolerate this much insanity. As it says, the female athletes don't stand next to the trans competitor on the medal podium at the Oregon State Championships. Where's the big coverage you're seeing about that? No coverage. Zips out of nothing. About all the other girls and their achievements at the state high school CIF track and field championships. All you hear about is the tranny and her mom and the crocodile tears. It's freaking absolutely insane. We put that up on IE Newswire. June is Pride Month. Display your pride proudly and patriotically. The reason why I say this is because June has been designated Pride Month in the city of Riverside and everywhere, I guess. But historically, I can get me back on the... Boy, my video switcher's loving me today. This whole thing that's went on, this was posted under Pride Month by the city of Riverside. Love is love. As you see, it's drawn over 1,000 comments. I posted my theory of the flag case on there. And again, most of the comments were, what in the hell is going on? We already had the whole discussion about flags. Hopefully, I got some questions in on who at the city of Riverside approved this to be put out on their social media pages. This is how a society goes haywire in a lot of respects. But as you see, here we go. There's the vote on the motion to suspend the rules to pass a bill unwinding the California Air Resources Board's potential 65-gallon of gas raise. As you can see, most all Democrats voted no. Only the Republicans voted to get rid of the 65-cent a gallon carb, I believe illegal, gas tax. They can call it a fee or whatever they want. That was blocked in committee today. We are going to have one of the biggest showdowns, I think, this coming legislative year. Because two Democrats have called for Laney Randolph, the head of CARB, to resign. So the only reason they're doing that is because they're hearing a lot of heat from y'all out there. They're hearing a lot of heat from their own constituency that voted for them, that has now got boys in their girls' sports, locker rooms, bathrooms, gas headed to $8 a gallon, rent too darn high, and the whole rigmarole. And it's going to be an extremely interesting legislative session coming up, because this and many others subjects will be coming up. We're going to finish up with the Ashley Zavala report on the legislative session coming up. Here we go. We thought Oh, here.
Tackle affordability. As we reported at the start of this legislative session, the Democrats, Assembly Speaker Robert Rivas and State Senate Pro Tem Mike McGuire limited the amount of bills lawmakers could file so they would be laser focused on affordability. Both houses combined have 697 bills to get through by the end of this week. 9 of them have to do with affordability. Most of those 9 look to address the cost of housing. 1 attempts to bring down utility costs, and others address wage theft. Assembly Speaker Robert Rivas also announced new committees that will hold a series of hearings to try to...
If you want nothing done, form a committee. As you saw that, basically less than 0%. When you boil that all down, they're not going to do anything. Only 1.5% of the 700, not even 1.5% of the 700 bills they've got to get through by September deal with the cost of energy, transportation, housing, childcare, or food, or anything else. On top of that, by the time you break it down, it's down to 1 or 2, and then they're going to hold a bunch of hearings and committees. You don't need a hearing or committee to know that gas is $5 a gallon and going higher. That the price of groceries are through the roof. That most people can't afford to pay their electricity or natural gas bill or water bill or sewer bill. They keep skyrocketing every year. It's beyond frustrating. That's all you really have to do. And then today, they said, well, we're not even going to deal with this 60. That would be the easiest thing, is just to bump the 65 cent a gallon carb deal on raising the gas prices. Simple. Okay, we're done with it. Carb board, you finally went too far. We're going to have to rein you in. And that's what the legislature's job is supposed to be. They actually should be making this policy, not the California Air Resources Board. It's just another board committee to advocate the responsibility that the elected officials should be doing. This stuff is really beyond any sort of reality that you could even come up with. It's like we're living in a bizarro world, idiocracy, Groundhog Day. Every day we wake up, it's the same song. It's the same thing. It never changes. If it doesn't change, we're all going to be in a heap of trouble. As the old Buford T. Justice commercial used to say. Oh boy, let's see if we can roll through some of the local news. I tell you, I don't know if you're hearing that, but again, this whole deal, all today I've been hearing all sorts of weird stuff coming through my headphones. Oh man. I have no idea what sort of wires are crossed, but some are somewhere. Update on the Wildemar story, where the LA trailers that seem to be part of an vagrant migrant camp got moved to Wildemar, may be towed and auctioned off. So there may be some progress in that situation that got moved. to Wildemore. Residents from Fontana, Harupa Valley, Ontario, Riverside, Rancho Cucamonga were swept up in an RSO sweep where they were targeting retail theft, meaning the ghetto shoppers that were walking in and walking out without paying for their products. Trump said, "We're not tolerating the flamethrower dude illegal from Colorado or anybody else. That's why we love Donald J." Harupa Valley has a home recognition award program, so if you want in on that, contact the city of Harupa Valley. On top of that, the Harupa Valley Rodeo is coming up this weekend, so make your preparations for that. A man injured in a deputy shooting in Highland after he allegedly pulled a gun on someone in Muscoy. Famous rat rods. We're featuring those this past couple of weeks because we can. Of that, City of Riverside Fire Department rescued a hawk. So good job, firemen, doing that. In Idlewild, Hemicops in Idlewild were arresting an outstanding felony warrant suspect. So, National Night Out is coming from Murrieta. Save the date. Let's see what else is on the hit parade. Native American Church sues San Bernardino County Sheriff over pot seizures. Man dies after he was found shot in Yucaipa on Saturday. Another rat rod. Oh, we got 2 for 1. Well, I guess it was a weekend, so we had to get 2 in there of that. June is Pride Month. Proudly display your pride patriotically. More from San Bernardino. They got theft in. They made a stop on a traffic stop and found and discovered weapons and stuff from a retail theft. So good job, Purdue cops. That nasty crash out in Lakeland Village. We had 2 pictures of. Let's see what else is on there. Evacuation warnings down in the South County of a fire going on. What else is left on here? And that should do it for the local news report. For the Dr. Kelly Victory fans, she should be on tomorrow. So be tuned in for that. Moreno Valley will hear the Lewis Project, a very good project down on Alessandro and Nason. Lots of amenities for the community centers and all sorts of stuff like that. We'll see the Planning Commission passed it. We'll see if the City Council does. Plus, we'll update the there we go again, the 9,432 stories we didn't get today, and what will come up in the next 23 hours, which will probably stack another 2 billion on top of that. One thing about it, there is no shortage of news stories to do today. Man, oh man, what a deal. But as we usually say at this time, mandatory you're back here in 23 Hours Wide to the best darn show in the whole wide world. Until then, see ya!
The proceeding was a...
I don't know. This stuff goes freaking crazy. I can't even get it to shut off. There we go. It's been all, well, ever since I walked in here at 2:30, it's been like this. Everything has just been going completely freaking nuts.
Oh, wow. Oh, all right there, Roy.
Hopefully tomorrow will be better, yes.
Talk to you tomorrow.
We'll see you.
Bye now.